Welcome back to Mid-Maryland Votes. Tonight we sit down with Washington County State's Attorney Gina Cirincion, who is seeking another term after 4 years as the county's top prosecutor. Supporters point to a strong record on public safety, victim advocacy, and prosecution, while her Republican opponent argues it's time for a new direction. We discuss her record in office, the challenges facing Washington County, and why she believes voters should be giving her another 4 years. Now let's get into it. Welcome to Mid-Maryland Votes. I'm your host, Mark Flynn. With me is my distinguished guest, Gina Cirincion. Is that good pronunciation? Gina Cirincion.
Perfect.
See, I gotta get the Italian up like that. You're the state's attorney for Washington County, Maryland. Welcome to the program, Gina.
Thank you.
Returning guest, we had you on before. We had a great conversation with you. I know you're running for state's attorney, and that the election is heating up. How's it going for you?
I think it's going well. I think the home stretch is going to be tough. Just maintaining the energy. Because it's been a very long, we both filed last spring. So it's been a very long year and 2 months. And the energy has ebbed and flowed. But right now we just want to push to the finish line. And that's the plan.
Now, this is not a primary. This is the actual general election for you, right? I mean.
Oh, no, this is the primary.
Okay.
Yes, both my opponent and I are Republicans.
Okay.
And this race will be decided at the primary because there is no Democrat running. So this is the election. So
will they officially appoint you if you win this primary, or do you have to wait for the general?
Nothing changes for me. I just get re-sworn in January. I just keep doing the job, and then they'll re-swear me in January.
So you're not running against another Democrat this year. You're running against a fellow Republican, Adam Gravel. And why do you think that Republicans are looking for a change in leadership at the state's attorney's office?
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily the Republicans as it is my opponent's decision to run. Mm-hmm. I don't get the sense from the party that they are looking for this leadership change. I think that it's that Adam wanted to, take a shot at this office is what I think is happening. And that's fine. He has every right to do that.
I will tell you that I have seen some of his ads, but on our show, when Adam was on our show, he's very complimentary to you. He thought, he just felt like he had a different way of doing it. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to try that way. It's gotten kind of heated and contentious, right? I mean, the election between the two of you.
I would say because of others, Adam has never said anything really derogatory about me, but other people have. I'm not sure what the connection is. I think there is a connection there. He and I are still very cordial when we see each other, but it has heated up. Yes, and which I would expect. Okay.
How are voters better served by staying with you, voting for you, as opposed to Adam Gravel?
Well, I think I'm a proven entity. I've been doing this job for almost 32 years. I've been the state's attorney since 2022. It's been pretty smooth sailing. We've had a decrease in violent crime. We have less guns on the street. I have the institutional knowledge to run the place. And I think that's a big deal. Adam has never been a prosecutor. So to come into the top spot, I think is going to be very challenging for him. This job doesn't come with training wheels. Mm-hmm. You just have to hit the ground and you got to run. Mm. And I think that, the experience I have, it's so much in every different area of criminal law, hopefully makes me a good candidate or a good state's attorney. It's been a very good 5 years. And I think that the voters want to stay with something that's working. We definitely have different ideas of how the power of the office can be used. But my focus is always public safety. And we have to serve victims. So I think that they should stay the course. I don't believe I've given any reason to doubt my sincerity or my ability. And I would like to do one more term. So,
Adam is tapping into the frustration of many citizens when they see repeat offenders cycling through the system.
Yes.
What's the biggest misconception the public has about a state's attorney and what you can and cannot do to end that cycle?
Well, what we try to do is increase sentences when we have somebody who has a record like that to keep them in longer. If it's a violent offender, We don't do the sentencing, that's the judge, and we don't do the parole, that's the parole commission. Maryland's sentencing is not what it appears to be. But that for a violent offender, that's what we would do. For somebody who has perhaps a substance abuse or a mental health disorder, we try to look at the problem. And if we can work on the problem, then they are much less likely to reoffend. So first you have to look at what kind of case it is. If it's a violent crime and someone needs to be removed from the community, that's what we ask the judges to do. But they are the sentencing body. If it's somebody who was maybe doing more nuisance crimes, thieves, burglars, a lot of that comes from substance abuse. We want those people to not offend again. And so we work with them in a different way through probation. But if you're a burglar, you're going to go to prison. If you go in someone's house, you're going to go to prison. But then we're going to look at the back end at your probation at the end and say, what can we do to fix this?
There's no doubt that substance abuse and drug addiction in Washington County is a major issue. I mean, it's an issue all over the county. And recidivism is high. What can you do as the state's attorney in order to facilitate these people getting the help they need?
Well, we're fortunate in Washington County. We have a number of good treatment programs. And we have the Day Reporting Center, which is a wonderful shop, for lack of a better word, where somebody will go into the jail and then they go into the Day Reporting Center. They come in, they spend the day there, and it's on a schedule. So the first phase, you're there 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to the second phase, it's 4 days a week, and then it's 3 days a week. And what they have is very intensive substance abuse training. They have mental health counseling. They have job placement, and they're trying to, treat the whole person so that when somebody graduates from the Day Reporting Center, they have job skills, they have treatment under their belt. Hopefully, they're sober because they are tested. Mm-hmm. And that's been a great tool in Washington County. But we do have other wonderful programs. I think the best one's probably Brooks House. Not only do they have a great residential program for women, but they have outpatient now that women and men can attend, and they've been pretty successful. We're seeing if somebody does a program like that, we're seeing the recidivism go down. But they have to want the treatment, and sometimes that's the challenge. We can give them everything we have, but if they don't want to work on it, then they're just going to go back to jail. And we're hoping at some point, sooner rather than later, they realize this is not the life I want. We make the decision of who we're going to prosecute. We make the decision of what kind of a plea agreement we would offer to see if we could make treatment part of the sentence. And then ultimately it's up to the judge.
So sentencing first or treatment first? Which comes first?
It depends. Well, it's all part of the sentencing procedure, but it depends on the crime. If it's a violent crime, sentencing every time. And unfortunately, violent crimes can be a product of addiction, but the sentence has to go first. You have to remove the offender from society to protect society. Then you fashion a sentence so that before they're completely reintegrated, they can get the treatment.
I've read a statistic that about 5% of the population in any urban area are responsible for 90% of the violent crime. Do you find that to be true?
Well, we do see a lot of the same people. We're seeing it a little less frequently now. We're using mandatory minimums. The sentencing guidelines, which are not great, have gotten a little bit better for violent crimes. But I would say it is a small percentage of the population. Yes.
Gina, you are the state's attorney for a primarily conservative county.
Yes.
But all of us still work for Annapolis, which is clearly has some kind of influence over the judicial system. Do you find that your job's harder because of the laws and the sentencing guidelines that Annapolis is enacting? And if so, how you dealing with it?
Absolutely. Annapolis is no friend to prosecutors. They make our jobs tougher every single year. This year, the big bill was juvenile justice and reorganizing some of that, which is going to make it very difficult for us to work with these young people, because there are young people committing violent crimes. There are young people with guns, and they're taking away the ability for us to charge them as adults. And they're putting them back in a juvenile system that does not have resources. And so my association, the State's Attorneys Association, opposed the bills that they were proposing. And we asked for a 3-year study. Keep things the way they are and show us the programs you have that you're sending these kids back to. They can't do it. And they passed the legislation, which is really unfortunate. It's going to be tough for us to prosecute these young adults. But yeah, Annapolis is a problem. They do not seem at this time in the history to be concerned with victims. They don't seem concerned with public safety. They're most concerned with coddling these offenders, and it's very hard to deal with some of the changes they've made.
This legislation you're talking about, if I understand it correctly, basically they're trying to encourage local authorities to keep these kids in the juvenile pipeline. But to your point, they don't have this. They don't have the resources. The juvenile justice in Maryland is bankrupt. They don't have enough money. They just fired one of their head people. These juveniles are being recruited into these criminal networks because they are well aware that they can't be charged as an adult now. Do you find that to be true?
I think that's going to be part of the problem. I think that's going to be an increase. And what we've done with adults who are using guns in crimes, whenever we can, we seek a mandatory minimum. The typical mandatory minimum for a felon in possession of a handgun or someone using a gun that is either they're prohibited for one reason or another, the mandatory minimum is 5 years without parole. So let's say, for example, a felon with a handgun gets a 15-year sentence, but the first 5 is without parole. What we're seeing is we're seeing less guns on the street, honestly. And so we believe that is working. And it's my understanding from speaking with the chief of police that the word on the street is don't get caught with a gun in Hagerstown. So I think when I took over, that was one of the things that we started doing, is pushing for the mandatory minimums. And I think we're seeing the effect of that now, that there are less guns on the street. Now, it doesn't seem that way when you to watch the news or read the paper, but the numbers are actually down. I wish I could give you a hard statistic. We just started a new case management system that will allow me to give statistics, but we're our second week into it. We're still learning it. But certainly the police response and their take on it is that this push to incarcerate these gun offenders is working.
Now, you mentioned police departments. You work with 3 or 4 separate ones, right? You work with the state police, you work with the county police, you work with the city of Hagerstown police, other
Actually,
police departments.
6. Yeah, we work with 6 agencies.
What's your relationship like with those folks?
I think they're terrific. I speak with the sheriff a couple times a week.
Sheriff Albert?
Yes, with Sheriff Albert.
We've had Albert on the show. He was a good dude. He was a good man.
Oh, he's terrific. I really enjoy working with him. I have known Chief Kiefer for 30 years. We came up together. We have a great relationship, and we have a new
just
chief.
for our viewers. Chief Kiefer is the chief of the Hagerstown City Police Department.
Yes, we have some good police chiefs in the smaller jurisdictions, but these are gentlemen that I've worked with before, and we do have I think we have a really good rapport. We also work with the state police, and we don't work with them as much because they don't do as much investigating as the other agencies do. There's a lot of, as you know, traffic enforcement is really their bread and butter. They do have a small detective bureau. The barrack commander is Brian Close. He is wonderful to work with. And we actually also work with natural resources police from time to time. So we have quite a few law enforcement agencies that we get to interface with, and they can be very different.
Is Washington County still actively pursuing a task force?
We have 2 task forces, actually. We have the Washington County Narcotics Task Force, and we recently started a human trafficking task force for both labor trafficking and sex trafficking.
Can you explain to our viewers how these task force work, how they target certain criminal behaviors?
Sure, and the task force themselves are very different, but I'll start with the Narcotics Task Force. They have been in operation longer than I've been a prosecutor, and so over 30 years. And they are comprised of agents from the sheriff's department and the city police and the state police. And then I have two prosecutors assigned there. They're off-site, and they are run by a sergeant from either the sheriff's department or the city police department, and they switch. So 1 year the city controls it, 1 year, and then 2 years later the county controls it. They do joint investigations. They do a lot of search warrants. They have targets. They have different ways that they look at those targets. The task force for trafficking is different. It's also multidisciplinary, whereas the other one is police, jurisdictional. The task force for trafficking is multidisciplinary. So you have police involvement, you have prosecutor involvement, social work involvement, and therapeutic involvement. They do this very well at the Child Advocacy Center, Safe Place. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I am.
They have a trafficking navigator, and we're trying to build around them so that they have a whole universe of people that can work with them. And again, a multidisciplinary team approach is wonderful. It's what makes the Child Advocacy Center tick. But that's how we're going to try to attack trafficking. Trafficking is very difficult because you seldom have a cooperative victim. You have a victim that is dependent upon the offender for everything. And it's very tough to get a rapport going that you can get them to actually say what's going on. And that's a challenge.
The separation between the victim and the victimizer is tough to do in those kind of sexual exploitation cases.
It is very difficult. And because they don't know they're being exploited.
What makes the task force so effective? Is it that consolidation you're talking about from different aspects?
I think, knowledge, that the knowledge we're getting from each other, I think already we've gotten better than we were.
The drug task force is well known in the police community for Washington County.
Very well known. Yes.
They're well known for being hardworking and very effective at what they do.
They are very hardworking people. They really are.
They're effective too. They make a lot of busts.
They make a lot of busts. They have been particularly good with the mandatory minimums on the guns. The sentencing guidelines, which come out of Annapolis and Baltimore, University of Maryland, they really. I don't know if you remember the Justice Reinvestment Act. That was under Governor Hogan. They really softened the sentences for a lot of narcotics crimes. So what my two prosecutors have done is said, oh, well, we'll get what we can, but is there a gun involved? And then they'll go after that gun. And they've been able to get very good sentences by taking that approach. And I'm very, very pleased with the work they've been doing. Thinking
about Governor Hogan in the old days when we had a governor who actually supported law enforcement.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we don't have that anymore, unfortunately.
No.
You've talked about your job, what you've done. Let's talk about the future. You get reelected for another 5-year term. Is it 5 years? 4 years.
4 years.
So you get reelected for another 4-year term. What are you going to continue to do, or what are you going to do differently? What have you learned from the last 5 years?
Well, I've certainly learned how to become a manager, because I didn't do a lot of management before that. I was strictly a line prosecutor. So I think I've learned how to manage, and I think it's going pretty well. Hopefully I'll continue to grow as a manager. I think that with what we've done by taking our old case management and purchasing, the county purchased for us, this new system that combines different systems that we had. I think you're going to see us be a more efficient machine. And I think some of the changes we made with personnel are going to be very helpful. We were able to get another digital evidence technician. I'm sure you know about digital evidence. We get it from everywhere now. It's not just the body-worn camera, but it's also, everybody has surveillance. Everybody has a Ring doorbell camera. Your cell phone is a camera. And we were getting slammed with video evidence and digital evidence. So I started a unit and with 2 people, and then the county just approved a 3rd person. So we'll continue to grow that unit as the need arises, and as hopefully the commissioners continue to let us hire people for it. So those are some of the things that I'd like to continue in. And I'd like to, honestly, Mark, I want to get back in the courtroom. I've taken a back seat with some of this election stuff, and I'm anxious to get back in there and try cases again, because that's my first love.
It's always interesting to me that state's attorneys being an elected position, it almost forces your best state's attorneys, your best attorneys, to become politicians. Do you feel that that's true?
Yeah, I do. And I am not a politician. I'm a prosecutor. And this has been at times a difficult fit. But I think that, yeah, I think if you want people with experience in the top seat, then that's what happens.
When voters walk into the voting booth, what's the single biggest difference between Gina Cirincion and Adam Gravel?
My slogan is experience matters. And I think they're going to go in there and they're going to see a name they recognize that's been prosecuting cases for so long, that has prosecuted all kinds of cases. I have that institutional knowledge. I have a commitment to this community. I've always been a public servant. I've always been a Republican, and that I'm going to continue that commitment to this community. This is my home. I love Washington County, and I will continue to fight for it. Public safety is job one, and I'll continue to do my best to make the public safety in Washington County.
Wonderful. So one last question. We've had guests on previously. Adam was one of them, and there's been others who alleged that there was a deep state or a deep county among the Republican Party in Washington County. Have you, in your time, I know that you have great relationships with most of the people in the Republican Central Committee and in the Washington County area. What's your feeling on that allegation?
My feeling is that it's nonsense. I don't think that there's anything there. And I don't know what the root of the conspiracy is, or what they think the conspiracy is. I've never experienced anything like that, nor has anyone ever brought to me a problem that they want me to look into that has any credibility.
No credibility.
No credibility.
That's interesting. I'm with you. I don't see any evidence of it myself.
Well, and my whole work is based on evidence. Everything I do is based on evidence.
Of course, it has to be, right? So how about you as a person, Gina? I mean, what do you like to do when you're away from the job? I know you're married and you're living in Washington County.
Yes. Well, it's been a while since I've been able to get away from the job. I love to travel. And I love to read. And the more that I can get my hands on a book, the better. And I haven't honestly picked up a book in months because of everything that's taking my attention right now. I love to spend time with my granddaughter. She's 3 years old. She's a complete joy being with my family. And I would say that's about it. My husband's been retired for 4 years now.
I just retired myself. Believe me, I'm feeling it. I'm with him. It's a good life.
It's a good life. And I'm going to tell you something. It's a good life for me because dinner's here when I get home.
Yes.
And dinner's ready, and he is unbelievably wonderful. And
by the way, I cook for my wife as well. I do most of the cooking in my house.
For you.
My wife is a captain. She just retired recently.
Oh, and, wonderful.
And I adore her. She's great. And I was a single dad before I met her, so cooking was no issue for me.
Well, I was a single mom before Jeff, and I've never been a good cook. But I always say I got my children to adulthood. They survived. They're better cooks, but that is not my talent. Cooking.
You say you like reading books. Do you mean like the hefty book, or are you talking about like a Kindle?
No, I like a hefty book, and I like a lot. I like history. I love history. It's what I studied in school, and I love to read it. And I have some big books waiting for me when I can when I finally do hang it up. I have a library of things that I can't wait to jump into. Well,
Gina, thank you so much for being part of the show. We really enjoyed having you on again.
Thank you. I enjoyed being here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Good luck in the upcoming election. Hopefully you'll come back and let us know what the results were.
And it's very nice to see you, Mark.
Well, good luck to you. And I think that you're going to do very well.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Hey, this has been Mark Flynn with Mid-Maryland Votes with my guest, Gina Cirincion, the state's attorney for Washington County, who's running for re-election. People, get out and vote. Remember that you, the voter, will decide who's going to be the state's attorney for the next 4 years. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Mid-Maryland Votes. That was Washington County State's Attorney Gina Cirincion discussing her record, public safety, and why she believes she deserves another term. Now the decision shifts from the campaign trail to the voters. Will Washington County choose to continue the course she's set over the last 4 years, or head in a different direction? Mid-Maryland Votes, bringing people from different backgrounds together for real conversations that still matter. Like, follow, and share, and we'll see you next time on Mid-Maryland Votes.